Liminal babies. We have a discussion panel now that is called Contemporary Shamanism and Sacred Ritual. And our moderator is Victoria Sinclair. And she is an experienced healer from Northern Ireland with over 16 years of experience working with healing and altered state of consciousness. Victoria has organized numerous international tribal events, and she is co-founder of the Reigniting the Ancient Ways initiative. Please give everybody on the stage a grand round of applause.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this session. I'm personally really excited to be in this session because we have basically a field of mastery around us, and that is also going to be what you are, because you're always a mirror of what we are. So I just feel very honored and humbled, not only to be sitting with masters on the stage, but just to be here in what is Living Mastery in Boom. And I just want to give gratitude to all the organizers of Boom, to Gita, to Marta, to Valentina, to all the crew, all the communities who painstakingly worked as a collective, which is what we're leading into tonight. We're coming into the evening, and I work quite a lot in Australia, and sometimes people talk about the light and the darkness and the shadow, and the thing is that everything is born in the evening and in the darkness. So this is a time, as the sun starts to set, for us to start to dream in our possibilities for our new communities. And Satya gave a really beautiful, beautiful bridge about how shamanism is for all of us. So as we go through this evening, I'm trying to hope that we bring in a more collective vision and that you guys start to kind of get more involved. So we're going to have a bit of an input from these living masters here today, and then we're going to have a bit of a chat with you. And as Rebecca in her beautiful cacao ceremony mentioned the other day, we're coming into the full moon in Aquarius. So this is a time for us to really maybe embark upon that rebelliousness that we need maybe to take things forward. If any of you have seen Eshua Bolton talk, he's the Origine guy who's here with us with our group. And he's just like, come on, stop being a bunch of hippies and let's just do this, okay? So tonight we're kind of going to bring that in, because today in the Galactic Mayan calendar we're under the auspices of the storm. And it's a portal day, so it's a galactic activation portal day, and I'll talk about that later tonight. So we're hoping to start to activate you, ourselves, and start to bring this into the action, into the us, into the tribal unity consciousness. And all of these guys do that in their work. All of these people selflessly work out of the ego and into the tribal unity consciousness. So I just really want to honor that. And I want to just say quickly, we've got Christoph Melchizedek here, we've got Satya, we've got Rebecca Shaman, and then we've got Orphus standing in for Apurva, who can't make it. And there's obviously a reason for everything. So in a little minute, both Rebecca and Orpheus are going to tell you a little bit about the divine awakening that they've both had by being the last apprentice of some very, very divine masters. So they're going to tell you a little bit about their journey and how they transfer being the lineage holders of ancient indigenous lineages and very deep art forms into the here and now and into our sort of Western communities. So I'm really excited to do that. And it's really important for us to honor those ancestors, because today we're in the north. And with that, I'd like us just to all honor the ancestors. So I would like to call in all your ancestors. I was just given a blessing before I came here from Uncle Frankie from the Aranda tribe in Australia. And he was just channeling. I didn't know I was going to be speaking to him. And he just said, oh, we've been reading up about shamanism before you all come over in September. And they call their shamans the clever men. And Esha was talking about that last night. So he just decided that he wanted to tell me that this is the time to know that I can do this. We can do this. And he said, everything we do is just a little thought, but everything we do is the dreaming. So these discussions we're having, especially as we come into the evening, are bringing the dreamtime consciousness together. So tonight we can catalyze a new consciousness. And for the next 2 days, we are in a full immersion to do that, to embody. So we're going to stop talking at you, and we're all going to start dreaming together. And so I just really want to honor the ancestors because the grannies are behind us, dreaming this all into existence, and it's all written for us. So soon we just get to be. So I'd like to just pass the microphone around, and I'd like you all to face the north, and each of us to just bring in the unified field of consciousness. Each of us is going to incant to the north. So Christoph. This is also a good lesson to start to understand the archetypes and shamanic principles.
Connection to the keepers of the core of the light of the north. Keepers of the core of the light of the heavens of the north. And the keepers of the core of the light of the earth of the north. Come, come, come and be with us now. Connecting in to the morphogenic field of the Homo Divinus, the next root race of humanity. Be with us here and now.
To the keepers of the north, may you bring in the grounding that we need. May you hold us in the darkness so that when we walk through, we don't feel the fear, but we know that we're always protected, that we are always loved, and that the womb of Mother Earth is dark, and that from there we are birthed. We are all birthed from the darkness of the womb. So the north, may you hold us in protection and in love. And even if we walk in fear, may you hold our hands so we know that we are never alone. To all the beings in the north, to all the ancestors of the north, please come down and help us on our journey.
And I would like to call in the Kero archetype of the north, the hummingbird. The hummingbird represents the solar plexus, but it is a bird that flies in many directions. It's also a bird that if it's dissected, it's just a huge heart. And what I feel is in this new age, as we come into Homo Luminous, into our higher vibration, is that we're going to receive a new awareness of the connection between the solar plexus, the ego center, and the heart. So I just ask tonight that we remember that our power relations are to be guided by our heart. And I wish for all our panelists to be conjoined in our heart spaces so that the ego is connected with the heart and the third eye, that all energy centers and all brains are connected beautifully so that we create a unified field of consciousness. Aho.
Spirits of the north, please bring your insights, your wisdom, the wisdom of the ancestors, of our ancestors, of our ancient being has been rolling and traveling and coming back to here and now to reflect on us, to guide us, to come through us and shine and bring wisdom to each and every one. Aho.
Aho, great mystery. This is your little sister Satya speaking to you. Please listen to me, to my prayers that I pray every night, every second of my life. I pray to you, ancestors, so we can receive your wisdom, so we can be open to look to you in your own steps in this magic life, so we can learn. And to remember us that we are the ancestors already. We are the ancestors for the future generations. So help us to really heal what we need to heal. Really help us to expand our awareness so our babies, our daughters, our sons, they can walk in a beautiful way, so they can be proud of us too. So may we learn with your mistakes, may we learn with your wisdom. May we humble when we walk, may be we happy when we walk, so we can embody the dark night of the soul, the night where we rest so we can walk on light too. So remember that we grow in a dark womb of our mother. And remember that is in duality in this planet that we live. So embracing day and night and the wisdom of our ancestors, becoming the ancestors. Aho metakiwasin.
Thank you, everybody. So now I really want to talk about these lineages of the ancestors. We're in this global shamanic resurgence. We're receiving more energy from the sun, and it means that the plants, the spirits are talking to us, and many, many people are experiencing awakenings and rememberings of lives as healers, lives as mystics, lives as artists, lives as community activists. And it maybe looks different than it did before 2012. So I'd just really like to ask what's going on that people are not, the indigenous tribes are not often following the lineages. Some of them are drinking Coca-Cola and going to discos. And now we have these two examples of people who are now lineage holders for departed masters. So I'd really like to just ask Orpheus a little bit about his awakening and his long, long journey with his master who just recently left his body.
Thank you, Victoria. So, yeah, I had for many years deep call to find what is this inner voice that has been bubbling inside my body. And it took me to Asia about 20 years ago. And to discover the healing arts of Chinese medicine and the energy vibration of the body mapped by ancient traditions of 5,000 years old of medicine, of natural medicine that work with the points of energy, exploring herbal medicine that comes from Asia and from other parts of the planet. How the body functions not only in a dry physiological way, but on the energetic levels that connect the spirit, the soul, the mind and the body together. And through this increasing desire to follow a call, that I realized that this is my call. This is what I am here for. That was the question. Why am I here for? It's a very important question to ask. If you don't know the answer, it's okay. Keep on asking the question until it will become clear. And once we ask the question, like Satya said before, we can create the intention and then the universe reveal to us what is it for us and why we are here. So once it was clear to me that I'm in service here to help human beings feel a little bit better, and find little piece of happiness and joy that is not related to external world, then I follow that and try to look for true authentic masters, true teachers that hold wisdom and I can learn from. And among various, I found one very precious called Duan Jiliang, Master Duan Jiliang, who surprisingly left his body last month while he was 110 years old in China. And he was an amazing teacher to me, amazing friend. He always told me, I'm not your teacher. First of all, I'm your friend. Then you can call me anything. You can call me Shifu, you can call me teacher, you can call me master, whatever you want. But first of all, remember, I'm your friend, and I felt from him the energy of my grandfather, of my friend. And all I wanted was to stay next to him and to be in service, because this is the way we learn. When we give, we receive. It doesn't work the opposite direction. It's not like, give me something and I'll give you. No. This is the energy of Mother Earth. She gives. All the time she gives. So we need to see that and learn from that. And by waking up in the morning, washing the clinic, going to bring food, going to bring hot tofu drink, you know, Beijing, really cold winters. I learned the amazing art of Qigong, amazing art of ancient acupuncture, energy work, mind work, understanding people, understanding how the human mind is working. and how we can be the masters of our own mind, not the opposite. And not giving up to the body to be the energy that controls the mind. So I was sitting with him and learning with him day and night. And with his humbleness and acceptance, he basically cleared a huge accumulation of books from a little bed in his room, and he said, "You sleep here, next to me." And that's where I stayed and learned his ways. And I learned about humbleness, about giving, and so many more things. But what was really said to me, and that's very relevant to the question, was that I didn't see any of his descendants, and he had 5 children, 11 grandchildren, I don't remember how many grandchildren. None of them actually took the stick and learned from him his ways and maintained his knowledge. And I was very sad. And I realized that maybe I'm one of the last 3 students that he had that actually can carry the tradition of Wuji Qigong, of this style that is family energy practice, very sacred movement and energy work for the body, you know. For the body doesn't enough just to meditate. It needs to move. It needs to be fed properly, like proper diet, sometimes detox. Lots of fun and joy and happiness and smiling. So now I feel that it's my responsibility to not only carry, not only bring his wisdom, not only talking about him, but sharing his knowledge, sharing his wisdom with everyone, with you guys at the Boom. Today we did the second Qigong. The day after tomorrow will be the 3rd morning Qigong, coming from the Wuji style. And then bring it all over the world through retreats, through workshops, through apprenticeships. And bringing that as a part of a whole or holistic approach of how we look into life. This is mastery. Mastery of life is not only in one direction, it's a multi-direction. That's how I practice, that's how I walk, walking awake, and finding spiritual tools for your practical day-to-day essence. It's not about sitting in a cave meditating. Maybe for a while, yes, but once you understand and you receive a tool, start using it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I really resonated with what you were saying about it being multi-lineaged. And that's maybe some way that we can adapt it into the contemporary society. I also just really want to say something quickly from my knowledge of these people, because one thing we see is a lot of people who get their shamanic awakening and then think that they're going to practice within one session. And that's why these people are here today, because each of these guys will tell you how long it's been. So I would love Rebecca to just share a little bit with her about her journey and how, I mean, Rebecca's doing a lot of ceremonies in inner city London. So, and she did the most amazing cacao ceremony. And any of you who went for the heart opening the other day, it was great. And it was kind of London, cheeky, which I love, because we have to get it like real. You know, it's not about the hippies. It's like, let's get up and open our hearts and let's do this. So I'd just really like to talk to Rebecca about how she discovered she had an amazing journey, and then how that's transferred and what the messages were along the way of how to take that into London, for instance.
So hello everybody. So what happened to me was that in 1997 I went to Machu Picchu to work in a hotel as a culture and activities manager just at the bottom of Machu Picchu. It was quite an intense area to work in, and I'd gone there with kind of a vision of helping the community and getting involved, and I got there and I saw really some intense environmental damage happening. The Sendero Luminoso had just been destroyed by Fujimori, and so Machu Picchu was suddenly able to become a tourist mecca. And I was there just at that turning point. So when I got there, it was very much about social cohesion. There was people selling their trades. Everyone was liberated, really. They had the freedom to do what they wanted. And while I was there, I saw a big shift in that. I also saw a lot of cocaine. I saw a lot of darkness, and I got really depressed. And I thought, this isn't just happening in London. I went out to Machu Picchu to try and get away from London. It's happening here, and it's not just happening here, it's happening all over the world. And I hit a state of absolute desperation of, get me off this planet. I've made a mistake. I don't know who dropped me off here, but I don't want to stay here anymore. This is horrible. And I went running in a mountain. I used to run every morning in the mountains to kind of release some of the fear and stress I was feeling. And this one day I was so upset that I kind of just didn't take the path, and I went another way, and I got lost on top of that mountain, and I lost the path. And I thought, oh, I'll be okay. You know, the path will appear. The path will appear like you do when you do crazy things. Something's going to happen. But the path didn't appear. And I ended up falling down that mountain. And in that moment, I was like, actually, I don't really want to die. I'm like, I know I really want to die, but I actually don't really want to die, but I don't want to live. What the hell is going on? Please save me. And a tree saved me. I fell in between a tree. And I believe at that time, as my body was falling, my body became a chemical mix-up of all the chemicals preparing me for death, the anesthesia, the DMT, whatever it was that was going on in my body. I got down from the base of the mountain, and that night I went out into the mountains and I said, okay, so why am I here? What is going on this planet? And a shaman came to me in a vision, and he said, I'm waiting for you. I have the answers for you, and you had to reach this point to see me. And if you believe in me enough, you will find me, and I will show you what you need. I have your medicine. And the next day, I was given a book by the general manager of the hotel called One River, which was all about ayahuasca. And I read it, and I realized, and I knew that this was the medicine that I needed to drink. I had never heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. But the vision of the shaman was so strong. I knew that he was my way out of my depression. And this had been an ongoing depression since a long, long time before. And I flew to Iquitos. I found the shaman. He lived 14 hours away from Iquitos in a tiny village. He was actually a Tuwai shaman. He wasn't an ayahuasca shaman. So I apprenticed on Tuwai, and I stayed with him for 3.5 months as his apprentice. And it was it was an experience of, I was there, and I was there for as long as I needed to be there, and as long as I needed the medicine. So I just stayed with him, and I became like his daughter. And exactly like Orphus was saying, no one was taking up the baton of drinking ayahuasca or wanting to take on the apprenticeship. Why? Because it's so tough. It's so tough dissolving that ego. They all want to go to Iquitos and make money. Why would they want to sit in hours purging and getting rid of all their darkness? Because I know what's behind that. I've lived that life of money and wealth in London, and I know it doesn't work. So for me, I had to go through the ayahuasca. They're all still starting that path of thinking that that's what's going to bring them happiness. So I trained with him, and after 3.5 months, he sent me back to London, and he said, your destiny's in the West, and you're a Westerner, and you have to bring the messages back to the West. And as I left the Amazon, he slammed the door in my face, and it took me 9 years to return. And I returned back to England, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? The sewage, the people, the waste, the mess. Because one thing in the Amazon that you learn is there's no such thing as a way. If you eat something, there's nowhere to chuck it. It's just there. If you pollute your river water, that's what you're drinking. If you hunt all the animals, there's no more food left to eat. You actually understand the symbiotic relationship with Mother Earth. You're living it. I lived it to a point where I came back here and I saw the state and the fragility of where we were at, and I got really scared. I also knew that the shaman had given me a seed, that the ayahuasca was in me. But it's a vine. It works like wine. It takes time to mature. Just like a good bottle of wine, it takes a good 10 years to get nice and full-bodied. Otherwise, it's a Beaujolais. So I decided that I was going to be a full-bodied ayahuasca bottle, and I was going to accept the ayahuasca as my teacher and Don Juanito as my teacher. So it meant that I wasn't going to become a shaman, whatever that means, because there's healers, and personally, I'd healed myself in the Amazon. Hadn't done any healing. I just really healed myself. I'd done healing with ayahuasca, but I got a very strong message that I wasn't ready to give ayahuasca in England. I didn't even know what I'd been doing out there. I'd been an apprentice. So I said to Mother Earth, I said, okay, I relinquish all ego will. You tell me where you want me to go. Yeah, you guide me now, because the planet's in crisis, and some of us need to really wake up and be the change. So where do you want me to go? And I got the message, you've got to do a master's degree in development economics and go into the corporate world and bring the messages of the ayahuasca and the shaman into big businesses. And I did that. I did the master's degree, and I went into the corporate world. And I wrote policy for the United Nations, for the United Nations Environment Program. I became a really high flyer. My ego all the way along was saying, what are you doing? You should be giving ayahuasca ceremonies. You should be up there with your feathers and your agua florida. Why are you doing this? Why are you working in the corporate world? Why are you doing this? And my heart kept saying, it's because to be the change, you have to be it. You have to really live it. Being conscious isn't being spiritual. I meet so many spiritual people that are really unconscious. They're burning with anger. They haven't really done the work. And I meet a lot of unspiritual people that are really conscious. They're actually working on themselves. They're being the change. And that's what this is all about. It's just because you've gone out to the Amazon and drunk 50 or 100 cups of ayahuasca does not make you a shaman if you haven't changed your behavior towards Mother Earth. The whole point about ayahuasca, the whole point about plant medicines is that they are desperate, the plants. They are desperate for us to wake up because we are destroying their habitat. They are desperate for us to wake up so that we can change, so that we can start being the change. And it's each one of us. This is where the key is. Because if each one of us changed our behaviors today, the planet would change in an instant. And the change is going to come from the West. Because in Peru, they all think that if they get the money, they're going to be happy. If they get the goods, if they get the mobile phone, if they get the big house, then they're going to be happy. And we've been through that journey, and we know that it doesn't bring happiness. So plant medicines are here to wake us up, to be the change. You don't need much ayahuasca to wake up. You only need a little bit to actually get that message. And then you have to do the work. And the work is following your heart, letting go of the ego, letting go of what you think you should be, and actually being who you are, loving yourself. And if you haven't reached that, if you're just drinking for your need to feel in bliss and in oneness with the universe and all of that, then you're really not drinking responsibly. You're drinking to get a high. Because to really do it properly, to really do ayahuasca properly, is to do what you're doing in life and love it, and love the planet, and live in service to Mother Earth. And I believe that we're all indigenous to Mother Earth. I had to go to the Amazon to meet my teacher, but we are really, all of us, all over the planet are waking up, and it is really important to realize. For me, a shaman is someone who has the well-being of the community and the well-being of the planet at heart. If you're in service to Mother Earth and you're in service to the planet, to me, you're a shaman. If you've got feathers in your hair and you're offering ayahuasca every weekend and you're not doing that, you're not a shaman. You're just facilitating ceremony. There is a big difference to who you are and what your action is. So for me, going to the shaman and the journey I've had, it's been 18 years. And now I take people to the Amazon to drink ayahuasca because I grow my ayahuasca and I grow my chacruna and I grow my tué, and I do cacao ceremonies here in the UK and in England and in Europe, because cacao opens up the heart. And this is what's another thing, is that we've forgotten how to feel blissful, how to feel happy, how to feel good about ourselves. And cacao is a beautiful heart-opening medicine. And it really opens us up and gets us deep into our hearts. And if more of us could get into our hearts and realize how lucky and how blessed we are, we have won the postcode lottery. Everyone here in Boom has won the postcode lottery of life. Because if you're in Syria, if you're anywhere in the Middle East, you're not going to have the luxury of even having this discussion. We are the 1%. I think I'm probably the most liberated woman on the planet. Why? Because I'm a woman, I'm a shaman. I can wear what I want. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. I am absolutely free. And we've all forgotten that we have this freedom. And the moment we realize that we really are liberated, that we really are free, is the moment that the whole illusion goes away, the whole illusion dissolves, and we realize that the power is within us. And once we realize the power within us, that is when change is really going to happen.
If you can hand it to Christoph, that would be great. Gracias, gracias, gracias. So I'm really grateful for that beautiful articulation of the more ancient lineages and the indigenous lineages. And but there's something interesting going on. And especially since 2012, when we came into what is regarded as a new epoch in regards to things like the Galactic Maya, there's been stuff that's going on that kind of defies maybe or transcends to some degree what the ancient lineages have got. And this is where I'm really hoping that we can flow with what we're doing, because we've got people who are lineage holders, and the great thing is that everybody here is a lineage holder but also is multifaceted, which is something that's beautiful that we Westerners, or whatever we are, can bring in, because I really honor the lineage holders who keep that sanctity of what that knowledge is and preserve it. And you know, they're leaving their bodies all the time, so I just pray that they get able to sustain their knowledge and get it to the right people. What's really interesting to me, and that Christoph really embodies, is this new galactic way. There are many people, they say that anybody born after 1985 was born with light codes, and then some of us who are a bit older than that, we work with light codes, and we've channeled and we've had upgrades that enable us to channel from more celestial realms. And I'd really like Christoph, because we've had a lot of voices from the indigenous elders and the wisdom keepers. I'd really love Christoph, who can really impeccably explain the science behind it, but also what's going on with this whole galactic aspect of shamanism, and maybe how that fuses with what we've heard today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah. Is this working? Can you hear me okay? Oh, perfect. Okay. Wow, what a question. I would like to spend a couple of moments just sharing my path to get to the point of bridging the galactic dimensions, so you can understand is that I'm not especially talented at all. Okay? Everything that I've done and everything I've embodied, you too have that within you. All I was especially dedicated. I just dedicated myself, and I drilled. I did my homework. I learnt the lessons of the medicines. Iboga, mastered Iboga, and joined healing ceremonies and worked for 2 years with this medicine. But it's not what happens in the sessions, as you beautifully said. It's what happens outside. You don't go for the experience, you go for the lesson. Don't go for the light, go for your shadows. You need to overcome your egoic deficiencies before you can start to operate with heart intelligence. It's only with the heart intelligence, when you've overcome the survival issues of the first, the relationship and sexuality issues of the second, and the self-esteem issues of the third, that we often get inbred with our upbringing and conditioning these egoic deficiencies. From the moment our placenta and our cord gets cut, we have abandonment. Abandonment from the placenta, from our tree of life. This abandonment is this cutting off, and we feel alone, disconnected from our organic nature. This is a very deep wounding in us all. And until we go back and heal these egoic deficiencies, you can get lost up there journeying. And I've met people like you all have, 50, 60 sessions under their belt, still completely lost, because they haven't done the work to ground it. You need to start with solid foundations. This means being centered, being anchored, being emotionally stable, emotionally balanced and mentally stable, so that you can come with your creativity of that second chakra and stabilize your frequency to be in the heart space, and only in that space can you bridge up to the higher dimensions. So after some time with a circle with the wood, Iboga, I was into the path of ayahuasca and working more in the higher dimensions. Before I came into that realm, like many of the panel here, some formal education, years of study. I have 3 degrees. The third one was in Brennan Healing Science by a master, Dr. Barbara Brennan, who used to work at NASA in the 60s. And through this study, both with the Bwiti traditions of Africa and the Shipibo traditions of South America, the shamans and the scientists are saying the same thing, just with a different language. But what gets really interesting is you start to explore the spiritual sciences and the higher dimensions. It's been my direct experience that what I call earth shamanism is working within a 6-dimensional template. We're living within a 15-dimension time-space matrix, meaning that we are able to access more aspects of our consciousness stationed at these higher dimensions. So for a moment, if you consider yourself as source consciousness and you go through compression from beyond the 15th into the 15th, through the thermal plasmic light fields into where matter begins to materialize at 12th dimension, and you keep getting compressed and compressed and compressed, we all leave aspects of our consciousness stationed at all these dimensions that upon entry into the earth portals, we get cut off from. We get plugged up with various inorganic energetic implants that prevent our DNA from organically activating to embody our full DNA potential, which is of a DNA as of an angelic diamond sun DNA template of 12 strands. These have been plugged up. If we've only got 3 strands active, we're only accessing 3 dimensions of consciousness. If you've only got 5 DNA strands active, while you are operating up in the heart space and connecting with your soul matrix, often we can get caught up in spiritual ego. And it's been my direct experience, this is a big trap for people, thinking they're spiritual because they have a soul. Well, there's so much more waiting for you in the higher realms, because you go from the soul consciousness up to monad. This is where the soul goes through a process called soul absorption, where the soul absorbs up to the monadic presence, and you move from the little I of the soul to the we of the monadic presence, or the oversoul consciousness. Then when that frequency begins to circulate in your bioenergy field, you're coming from a much bigger expression of consciousness to drive your personal hologram. It's like you're watching the movie and editing the movie rather than just being in the movie. Because quite often we're driving our life with first perception, first position. Life's all happening to me, rather than consciously imprinting your intent on life and making it happen. And then from that consciousness of the monad, which is yourself, still yourself, but stationed at higher dimensions, stationed at above dimension 6, 7, 8, and 9, you have the avatar consciousness, which is yourself, still stationed at 10, 11, 12. So when you begin this process, we have all can experience this path in many different ways. My own experience of this was quite direct through the plant medicines, and it was only because I had the thorough foundations in place. Now that I track back at myself, every stage was fully integrated before I went to the next level. And you can get lost up in the dimensions and have wonderful experiences in ceremony, but not actually get any work done on yourself. It's a big trap. You must be impeccable, honest, and in your integrity as you drive life. You must clear yourself of addictions. You must come into harmony with love and all your relationships, to then be gifted the opportunity to start circulating aspects of your consciousness stationed at these higher realms. As you get up to avatar, you can only think of world service. Any aspects of ego and I are out the door, because we see people's hologram and DNA templates go up, but if they're not impeccable, what happens? The greater the rise, the bigger the fall. We see this all the time. So it's not just about getting activated and suddenly, hey, presto, you're an avatar. I wish it was like that, but the truth of the matter is it's not. Slow and steady. Okay, the journey is the destination. And when you're on your path and you're following your life path, which are templates already held for you at these higher dimensions of consciousness, life begins to flow. And you enter this flow because the frequency and templates you have held up there before you came to Earth are set up as morphogenetic field holding templates, the geometries, which if you're off your life path, it becomes challenging. The obstacles come up. You enter discordance and difficulties. So as a preamble, bringing back to Vicky's primary question about more galactic shamanism is more bridging the higher dimensions and being able to navigate that in world service, understanding what we call planetary Templar mechanics, which is the accretion pathways of a planet and how they begin to go through their own ascension, how someone's personal hologram goes through what we call ascension. That is, moving up and establishing their consciousness at these higher dimensions. It's understanding negative agendas that are playing out in the higher realms. The truth of the matter is that Earth is a very prime piece of real estate in the 12th dimensional consciousness bands in this time-space matrix. There are many beings not operating on the law of one and the law of love. And what they're doing is they're accessing and consuming our frequency, our energy, in a consumptive model which keeps them alive. Our consciousness has been tracked, capped, and siphoned. And if you're tracking yourself with impeccability and you're noticing yourself going into discordance, such as alcohol, such as drugs, such as sexual discordances, you can be certain there's a controlling entity or a controlling frequency from a higher dimensional realm of negative agenda that has taken that discording frequency and siphoning it from you. All of us must reclaim our spiritual sovereignty, our consciousness sovereignty. Once we establish ourselves as being source, being conscious and being free, then we can begin to drive our personal hologram without interference and begin co-creating the world together. Together we're much stronger. You see, there's a beautiful saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And it's only when we come together in communities by sharing ourselves in love that the group harmonic begins to get amplified and it becomes more challenging to pick us off in terms of the energy siphoning. So for you that are wanting to explore the more galactic realms, it begins by being centered, being anchored, being mentally stable, emotionally balanced, coming up into the heart space, behaving with impeccability, and then driving your consciousness up into those higher dimensional bands. And how you access that is through color. Each color in the dimensional frequency scale has a wavelength. That wavelength is that bridge into that dimension. And if you have the appropriate number of DNA strands activated, you can bridge into that space. So you can begin to use yourself and understand the programming language of the universe, which is sound, which is vibration, which forms light. Sound creates oscillation, vibration. This oscillation creates light. This light goes on and forms color, creates form, which creates geometry, which is the form-holding templates of creation. All of you here have the ability to co-create anything of your desires because we are the royalty of this galaxy. The thing that's happened to us is that we've had our consciousness suppressed and we've forgotten who we truly are. We are magnificent co-creator God beings, embodied in physical form. And the highest expression of our spirituality is our physical form. So when people ask me about galactic shamanism, it isn't glamorous, I can tell you. It can get quite messy up there, just like down here. But it's about behaving responsibly, impeccably, and starting to use yourself as a portal to bridge down the frequencies that are available for humanity at this point and bring them down into your hologram. Because as you start accessing more dimensions of consciousness through your own templates, you begin to magnetize your intentions towards you faster. It's like you're running 12 dimensions of consciousness through your DNA templates versus 3. What do you think happens to the speed of which you're manifesting your intentions? Much faster, which becomes also a greater responsibility. Because what happens if you drop into negative thinking? What do you magnetize towards you faster? More discordance and dangerous situations for your spiritual evolution. So my feeling is that go slow, go steady, start by working through the egoic deficiencies, working on the bridge of the heart, understand the programming language of the universe, and you will all here begin to become co-creators of this golden age, which the frequency of which is now available for us all. It is not just in some of us, it is in all of us. Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing a mass healing and activation, starting tonight, then tomorrow in the afternoon, and then finally for finishing here 1 a.m. in the morning. We invite you to come, as all of us here are going to be working with you to raise your vibration, clear the architecture, and begin to go on a journey that's going to be quite remarkable. We're going to open up stargates, which are the dimensional bridges, to all these different frequencies. And my great teachers, known as the Guardians, the Guardian Alliance of the Aurora realms, are waiting on the other side of these stargates. And the Guardians are going to be bridging and sending frequency down
through here and sending it into your holograms and out through the grids. And rather than having an intellectual understanding of what I'm saying, please come and feel it. It's only through feeling you get to have direct experience. And tomorrow and tonight, all of us here hope to give you direct experience of these higher frequencies. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Yep. And look at the sun is just setting, so this means that we're now truly coming into the dream time when the new realities of next level spiritual sovereignty become a possibility for real as we catalyze that energy. But I'm sure for a lot of you that was quite epic. And I just want to assure you that you're actually receiving codes, and some of you will, like, tomorrow, even if you don't come to the later sessions, go, something's changed, because you're actually receiving information and downloads, and just even if you're not at an activation, just the words and the frequency that everybody holds will help you to activate. So don't worry too much by trying to get into the monkey mind or have Mr. Left Brain trying to ask loads of silly questions. That's so white fella, as the Origines would say. But I do feel that it might be really helpful to just scale things back a little bit. And I really like to ask Satya, who works with so many different modalities, to maybe explain how people can know they're having something like a shamanic awakening, and what modalities could be good ones to start off with that are safe, so the person can learn their lessons gently, because we don't want to bombard our systems, do we? And just maybe what signs you've noticed other people have had or that you've had. And then after that, we're going to take it into questions from you guys, okay? Thanks.
Thank you. So, I don't know if you were here before I was speaking. I have a key for my life, and that key is honesty. All the time, even if I don't realize that I'm not being honest. I have this, arrow with honesty on the point. So I have this quest through my life, so I don't come to sleep again. So answering you honestly, I think there's no rules for that. I think in our time, there's a lot of people that they want to sell you a truth. They want to tell you it's like this. If you follow my rules, if you follow the steps that I gave, you will find something. To be honest, you can follow the path that you feel. But the thing is, how you can grow in that path. If it's meditation, if it's shamanism, if it's plants, if it's nothing of this, being a mother, being a father. I hear a lot of people saying, I'm very spiritual. I sit almost every day, and I do a lot of retreats, and I go to ayahuasca retreats. And then I say, oh, so good that, please come to me, tell me about your life. And then I'm impressed. When I start hearing all the speech is about judging, comparison, what you said, all of you, and I think it's a very simple message. The way you walk your life every day, even if you fall again, is the only way. These techniques are here to help. But if you don't practice in your daily life with your beloveds, with the people that you work, maybe you go to a coffee shop and you say, hello, give me a coffee, please, every morning. And you don't even look in their eyes. You don't make a human connection. What is that? What is that? Look, what is that? It's nothing. Because we are still sleeping in our bubble. Once I had a vision, a beautiful vision. So I was looking from outside, and everyone was in bubbles. And everyone was inside of the bubble doing something, Some were doctors, some were mothers, some were shamans. healers, but somehow there was no really present between the people inside of the bubbles. So of course there was a smash, boom, all the time. And we couldn't really relate. It was always about defending ourselves, protecting our bubble. So when you ask me what is some guidelines, I say, when you sit with someone, really make sure that person makes their own homework. Yeah, you know, it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy to do the homework to everyone. I want to tell you a story about my beloved master and friend. You know, it's one of my... So I met him some years ago, and I was doing a healing, you know, breath work, retreats of meditation, and I started to be with him. And one day, 3 years ago, so I was already working with ayahuasca in many countries, he told me, Satya, come. Can you explain me again, what do you do? Yeah, tarara, tarara, tarara. And once he called me and said, Satya, I'm in these retreats that you do. I was like, good, Jose, good for you. And why I'm saying this to you? He's 64 years old. He's really known. And so he could sit in this shaman chair forever. And in that day, I really cried and deep gratitude for the being that he is. At 64, he went to a retreat and he put himself in the circle saying, okay, what do I really need to see now at 64? To have this simplicity, humbleness, that gives us so much more than thousands of books and spiritual talks. Because that being over there, he's really looking what he needs to heal again and to expand. And when he comes with his own energy and wisdom, he will reflect that on his singings, the way he treats people, the way he sits and looks in the eyes. No games or less games, because I think life is a quest forever, you know. And so any path is valid if we really do the work. For me, it started with surf. So I was raped for many years from my stepfather. I tried to tell my mother, she didn't listen, so she was in a crazy world, you know, in that age. I'm very honored now to have that mother because I saw her path and she's became a great grandmother. Yeah, she's evolving. And so I was raped for many, many, many years. So I had this hate and anger inside. And the only thing that really cleaned my being was big waves. And it's amazing because when I say big waves, it's not big waves, it's nature. No words, vibration, just vibration. A space where you connect that reflects directly into your face what you are feeling. And after some years, ayahuasca, or other works that I did a lot. So my first ceremony, I was lying down, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but in ayahuasca you don't touch and then you don't speak. So first ceremony, this guy jumping on top of me and I was shocked. But you know what happened? Really happened. For the first time of my life, I had to use my power to say no. So somehow that energy field with ayahuasca and the people in the circle creates a real opportunity to really face what I had inside and to say and to heal. And in that moment, I knew that ayahuasca was my tool and my beloved master too. So any tool that you get, really use it with honesty, simplicity, and open your heart to receive. if we stay in our belief system with what we already know, it's impossible to learn the new.
Thank you so much. And I just really applaud you, Satya, for sharing that really important story because, yeah, shamanism often can involve very, very serious dark nights of the soul, the wounded healer. And maybe, you know, I muse upon this a lot. You know, I think all of us probably have stories which involve quite a lot of suffering, but maybe something's changing. You know, a lot of people are waking up who haven't had that bad a time. I sometimes question how much they can empathize with things, but I also think that anybody who's got a heart is weeping at what's going on in the planet at the moment. So I guess for us, it's about how we talk about how we navigate together and how we be impeccable shamans and gatekeepers for this beautiful planet. So I'd now like to open this up to you guys for questions, because maybe you have some answers. Maybe it's time for you to mirror us. Maybe some of you have some tools for us. Maybe you have some more questions that you'd like to direct to any of us here. Now is your time. Please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, and honored to hear all of you speak and your stories, and to be here at Boom. It's my first time being here at Boom, but I've been to many festivals and been on the path for my entire lifetime as well. And I know this is like really putting it out there, but this question of this music. So you're just all saying everything is vibration, and we all know Masamune Emoto's work with water. And when he plays different frequencies to the water, it forms either deformed molecules or formed molecules. And so we have these festivals and these gatherings, and we all come together. And I feel like we've been subjected to a barrage of negativity that, like, I'm personally been, like every day trying to come back to center and having to sleep in it and be in it. So I've just kind of wondered, okay, where I know there's the light and the dark and the balance, and we're all here gathering together, but frequency is frequency, and you can't escape it. Even if you get to the furthest end of the thing, the boom, boom, boom is still, the frequencies are there. So I'm just wanting to have anyone answer to that.
I'd like to first take that, and then I'm happy to pass it to some people, because I've actually got a very relevant story. I just came back from Peru recently, and I was with some dear Kero, well, they're pre-Kero brothers and sisters that I work with, who are the keepers of the divine sexuality rights of the Condor people. And it was just after Inti Raymi, which is their solstice ceremony, and they were angry. I've never seen them angry. And these are the keepers of the sacred valley, of the Apus, the mountain spirits. And they were livid because there'd been a crappy trance party all solstice, you know, and these guys are praying. And this is kind of what I'm going to lead into in my talk tonight. It's like we actually really need to step up. We're pissing off the indigenous people, and I can tell you that live and direct because they've told me. And we need to do more work at checking in with the nature spirits and giving our pagamentos and our offerings, like the Huicholis are talking about. The Kero give their offerings, and I will be talking a little bit about this tonight. And that's why we are going to go and make offerings. Because what I believe is, if we make a better unified field of consciousness before we do these gatherings and during, we will actually assist the acoustics, because the DJs and the people will be in a more harmonious state of mind. A little funny story was that Ben, our dear brother, who so graciously created the situation for the Wisdom Keepers to come here, we were on the boom bus coming down, and everybody's kind of partying, and there's some really dirty drum and bass playing, and then he just stuck on all this medicine music. And some of it's very placid, and people were kind of like being a bit sarcastic for a while and singing along. But we had to wait for ages at times, and everybody was so well behaved and so zen. And they arrived to this party beautifully, because actually the acoustics really helped them to arrive to boom impeccably. So I do believe we have work to do, and I have to say that as a gatekeeper of a bridge of several different tribes, we have something to improve here. And I know that some of our friends who work a lot more in the medicine field are feeling quite tormented by the music. I've come from a big free party initiation, so I can sleep through it, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, feels like an onslaught to the senses, and it's like, But this is our shamanic initiation. You can't be initiated as a shaman unless you can look at the darkness. So what I'm feeling is that now we're on the day of the catalyst, of the storm. We have to get all this shit up. Yeah, that's all the unconscious, dirty shit that's in everybody. So it's cleaning, it's bringing it up, and it's like, ugh, it's really horrible and ugly. And in any really deep shamanic circle, we have to bring the shit up, yeah? Don't all just sit and go, everything's love and light, and I have no shadow. This is about, like, that is the shadow, and that's our mirror. And yesterday was the mirror in the Mayan calendar. So it's like, come on. Bleh. So what we can hope for, if we are in true alignment with the stars and Hunabku, is that we are going to start to catalyze the consciousness, and that we may find that there's more of a flow within the sets as we become more of a tribe, because we have to get all fragmented and to play out our shit to then step up. So I'm hoping that we see miracles the next few days. Anybody else?
Well, I'm an urban shaman. I live in London. I'm around the chaos all the time, and I love it. It was my first boom, and I was booming it on the dance floor to Zen Mechanics, and it was a fantastic little rave. I think you have to take the good with everything. This is boom. It wouldn't be boom if the psytrance wasn't there. It wouldn't be boom without the shamanism. This is what it is. And for me, it's turning everything on its head. Everything is turning on its head. Everything is a divine paradox. My concern is that people are not doing it responsibly and putting a lot of stress. They're not looking after themselves. They're taking too much. And there is more of a need for people to understand their limits, that it's okay to go to different levels of consciousness however you want to do it, but to be responsible for your health and well-being and not to rely on others to look after you. So I would say there needs to be much more awareness and consciousness of that. But listen, it needs to be a party. Life is just damn too serious at the moment. Everyone's in fear. Europe's cracking up. America's about to blow up. I mean, listen, we all need a bit of boom. So for me, I think it's taking the whole lot of it. If you don't like it, just go and join it. Release some of those judgments. Just go in there. Connect with some of those people in there. Everyone's really fluffy. Everyone's really having a great time. Everyone's really like, yeah, come on. Everyone's chatting and spraying water on everybody and offering water. It really is great down in the pit. So I would say if you're really hating it, go and join it. And that, for me, is urban shamanism. It's taking all the new things. It's taking the whole urban environment and enjoying and loving the shadow and the light at the same time.
What is your name? Malaika. Beautiful name. The thing is, maybe your energy field doesn't vibrate with this music. Maybe it's too aggressive. And you know, you don't need to judge yourself because of that. Maybe you just say, okay, it's enough for me. And at the same time, not judging what other people need. You understand? There's a lot of layers of awareness, a lot of layers of being alive, of experience. So if you really can respect yourself, you know, just respecting yourself and taking the decision that you need to take when you feel this, you know, energy coming to you, it's already enough. And I think, in my point of view, and I'm not confronting anything and not agreeing, but urban shamanism, I think is the way we live, and the ancient practice coming to the cities and to places like this. It's a blessing at the same time, you know. You see how many people here are listening this speech because somehow their spirits and soul or willingness decided to come here and to listen at boom, boom, boom. And it was at boom. You know, if we stop trying to understand everything with our rational mind and more becoming sensitive of what we really are, maybe our decisions are more in the direction that we need to go and not against anything else. Yeah? So we don't hurt other people. We don't say the music is bad. We just say, I prefer, classic music. Wow. What a nice vibration. Yeah? I think, and this, for me, it's very important. Because in our world, so people become shamans or meditators or doctors or lawyers, and then they feel that their class, it's the best. And they only see that little world there. And they don't realize that we need to experience different things to grow. The vibration of the cell contains everything. But medicine didn't realize till now, or it will realize. So they say brain is the master of the body. And in my belief and in my visions, what I see, each cell has the same information of everything, but we don't know how to release it and to use it. And then we need to choose what information and what vibration we want to experience. So I hope you can choose what is really good for you tonight.
Thank you very much for that. It was more just of when it's a field that is like the balance of it. It's more the balance so that everybody has everything and it not just being taking over the whole entire thing. So thank you, everybody.
How do we know about the 15 dimensions?
How do we know about the time-space matrix?
Yeah, some kind.
Good question. Okay, so the information about the dynamics of the time-space matrix is accessed, in our experience, direct experience, by connecting up to a server that is almost the higher self-server of this universe, and getting information direct around the dimensional bands, and then going up through direct experience, adjusting our personal hologram to have direct experience of each dimension and seeing what's available there and what the frequencies are there. So it's a combination of direct experience, what we call a data stream. Data stream is not channeling. There's quite a difference. Data streaming is accessing direct from source, information coming through. Channeling is allowing another consciousness field to use your hologram to send information. What you're doing in that regard with channeling is you're allowing another consciousness field to use you. And in this case, I'm always very dubious of their intentions, so I prefer to do that. Then after data streaming and direct experience, I triangulate information. Triangulate means looking for information coming from other unrelated sources that can cross-correlate what my direct experience has been through, and then over time I've come to trust certain other sources over others and filter it through my heart. Okay, so that's how I've come to obtain.
Thank you all very much for your presence and for your sharings and your stories. It's created a tremendous impact on us all. I do want to just respond also to a question, the first question that was asked about the frequencies and the molecules of our anatomy, of our biological form. These music, this beautiful music, this collaboration of music and this co-creation of music that's brought us all together to celebrate life. Where is the line between opening up dimensions that create energetic, behaviors and energetic entities or beings from different realms to come in and opening up portals, but not being truly responsible to closing those portals? That's where I feel that there is not a defined line, but there needs to be this harmonious balance between, not from a judgmental perspective and seeing it, obviously everything as a mirror and respecting all beings from all dimensions, but where is the line drawn from actually opening up a portal, and for that portal to allow other beings to come in and start siphoning energy from the group audience for people that aren't even conscious of it, and actually are maybe using substances that are allowing them to experience these higher realms or lower realms, but then basically reflecting what's happening on the bigger scale of things as well. So as a conscious community that obviously Boom holds dearly, opening up the panel of shamanism and creating this co-creation of shamans from the world. When can we be responsible for that in opening up these when there is obviously other energies at play?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued in this whole thing as well, because coming from working with a lot of different medicines, plant medicines, when we invoke things, it's like there are a lot of kids out there who think that this is all just another episode of Harry Potter. And the thing is that you have to be very careful what you're calling into a space. And, you know, I've heard a lot of like remixed Icaros at the moment, and it's really good, it's really well intentioned, but some of those are Icaros by very dodgy curanderos who do naughty things, who we will not play their music in ceremony. And people do need to be really careful. And I've been in sacred land with indigenous people in Australia where they have very strict plant protocol, okay? And we're not allowed to, you know, I'm allowed to serve plant medicines in sacred places, but not all. And it's a, you know, it's a very fine line. And then people suddenly start singing ayahuasca songs in indigenous Pitjantjatjara territory in the centre of Australia. And I've seen chaos come through. I've seen trickster spirits come in and play through, and just the shit hitting the fan, so to speak. So this is the whole thing. And that's a little bit, thank you for this, because it links into the whole techno-shamanism thing. We have to be gatekeepers, and we are opening portals. And, you know, the Gulf War was won on sonic warfare, okay? And that is why sound systems have represented a threat to the misguided ones, because we are doing deep alchemy and magic, and we can make sonic peace fair. But this requires a whole new corpus and vision and fleet of people really researching and really impeccably, not just going, well, I'm going to try this out and then I'm going to do that at Boom. So it's like, this is really deep magic. And so I'm really honouring your question, and I don't have an answer, but I feel that as people are DJs and musicians, they are shamans in their own right. And if they can pray to the divine and pray to their guides, that their channel is pure, rather than just making music because it sounds cool because it's got an Icaro in it, to maybe really, really pray in and call in their ancestors, call in their spirit guides, call in all their allegiances of the best and the highest frequencies, then they will probably channel in a divine way. Yep.
I think it depends on each person too. It's a very straight line, for example, for at least in my lineage and the way I was taught, and I really like to honor my teachers. It's in, for example, places like this, we don't take medicines here. We don't open in my lineage, okay? I'm not judging who does it. And once I did. I tried a little mushroom, and I received directly the message, what are you doing? Go to the water, pray, go to your tent and sleep. And it was an amazing lesson for me. So everything that we do with shamanism, in my point of view, we need to be aware of what we are calling and inviting. So this new age of shamanism really needs to be grounded with these wisdom keepers that really sit by your side, you know, and sometimes they don't say anything, but you know what kind of energies is there, you know, and it's really clear, really clear. And so through music, when I hear Icaros in some places, I need to go away, not to judge them, but to say, I don't participate in this energy field. So the responsibility, in my point of view, is us, each one of us. How do you want to walk your life? How do you want to give your energy to that field that is there?
Thank you. I will add my 2 cents worth to this question of the music. For me, it's about 2 things, you know, the vibration of the music, but more importantly, personal choice. And also going in with conscious awareness of what you're stepping into. Okay, we've all made a conscious and personal choice to come to Boom. There's going to be loud techno music,
or trance music. Now, for some people, they use the drum to trance. Boom, 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 to put them into an altered state of consciousness to trance. And they enter into the drum circle with some sort of sense of conscious awareness of what their intent is out of it. They protect their personal hologram and journey. All we can do individually is to take personal responsibility for our own hologram. To make a choice. For example, yesterday I want to go to the main trance tent. I want to have an experience of entering an altered state of consciousness through the medium of the music, which it takes you up to an altered state. But going into that, what do I do first? I don't just consciously go in and go crazy. Right, I center myself, I protect my hologram, zip myself up, and I go into the pit, into the middle of it, and I enter in my own space. My eyes are mainly closed, and the music takes me on my little journey. And for me personally, for 30, 45 minutes was enough to an hour to have my experience and then to come out. And personally, I choose to be in other, musical, energetic environments. But it's all about choice, and there's a variety of different things here. But the ultimate thing is that we're at Boom, a psych trance festival. We're not going to get around from it. If we don't like psych trance, don't come. But, so it's thank you. It's all about choice. It's all about the frequencies. And for some people, it does take them into journeys. And in this journey of several hours on the dance floor, they enter an altered state. In the indigenous cultures, they use the drum. In Bwiti, you dance all night. Once you've gone through your journey, you get up and you celebrate, and it's 6 hours around the fire. And in that state of transcendental dance with the music, for example, the Bwiti music, I wouldn't exactly call harmonious for my ears either. But the harp and the drum together takes you on this state of journey. So when you're choosing your music, what is the purpose of this music for me? And enter into choice points, and then go into actions regarding the outcome of what you're choosing. Choose the appropriate music and go enjoy it, or don't turn up. I hope that helps.
So personally, I think everything's a medicine. It doesn't matter what you take, as long as you take it with intention. So LSD has been known as a medicine, mushrooms are medicine. Whatever works for you to open your consciousness, then, that's great. But the idea is to do it with a real consciousness, so you're not just trying to get absolutely out of it, but actually to go on a journey. It is really, really powerful. You can have a really amazing experience, because I see many people who come and they haven't set their intentions, and they're not with the right group of people, and they get very lost and very scared. So the aim is, again, like I said before, is to do everything with a sense of self-responsibility. If you want to go into those realms, then go with a group of mates that can look after you if you get lost. Set your intention that you're going to have a loving, amazing, gorgeous time, and the universe will mirror that to you. If you're needing to get fucked because you're feeling really down and dark, that is what's going to happen. So for me, this is an amazing experience and an amazing opportunity to go and explore different levels of consciousness, but to do it with a sense of self-responsibility and with a sense of purpose. We really need to start realizing that us in Boom, that we're really lucky, and that we really need to start shifting our consciousness to recognize that we're all in this together, and the planet Earth is ascending, descending, whatever you want to call it at the moment. And actually, all of us have to be the change. We are, exactly like Satya said, the ancestors for our children, and they're going to look back on us and they're going to curse us, or they're going to bless us. Now, I hope they bless me, because I've decided I'm not going to be part of the disease anymore. I want to be part of the cure. And I think each one of us has to make that decision. Are we going to be part of the disease, or are we going to be part of the cure? Are we coming to Boom to connect, to pollinate, to share ideas, to have a good time, to expand consciousness, to come out a better person, more connected to Mother Earth? Or are we going to come absolutely without having gained anything from that level. And I think the more of us that choose the first path, the more of us that choose to come to these things, to open our consciousness, to share our ideas, to pollinate, to meet, to grow the tribe, then change is going to happen very quickly, because we are the change we've been waiting for. It's not going to happen out there. It's happening in here. And I think Booming is an amazing catalyst for that change. And more of us need to really awaken to the realization of how powerful a collective like this is, when we all come together and we can all really change and shift consciousness together.
One more thing. Yeah? Okay. 1 minute. Okay. One last thing. The psych trance culture brings in many people from all around the world. And if even one of those persons has an experience because of the other therapies, some of the other things that awakens up their consciousness to another path, this whole conference, this whole festival was worth it. Yeah. For one person. Yeah. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Christoph. I want to put this to you guys, because this is about us taking ownership, and it's about spiritual hygiene and us being the navigators of our own experience and our own healing and transcendence. So, you know, this panel is about ritual. So I'd like to ask you, because what I love about Boom is that you're allowed to do within reason what you want. So I would like to ask you to maybe give us some ideas of how you can make more of a ritual with, say, drug taking, how you can make it conscious, how you can make it a sacrament, because these medicines are powerful sacraments. These are what I had to bide my time before I was able to drink ayahuasca, because I wasn't in a position to go to South America. So I worked with ketamine for years, working with the ayahuasca frequency for like 7 years, meeting her, but before I fully drank her. So sometimes we don't have the availability of these other sacraments. We're not about to go to Gabon. So I want to ask you, well, how are you going to take ownership over your ritual? I'm sure some of you have got little things that you do, and I'd really like to hear about them. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Because you are with us here, and there's lots of little shamans in there. Come on. I see a hand up there. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. First of all, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. And I feel like everyone feels that as well. Look, something that's been really big in my life with using psychedelic drugs as well as meditation and yoga is just, like you guys have talked about, creating an intention and not, essentially, I'd like to think that if you allow yourself to let go and you set whether it's a time or a place, and listen and really be open, whether it's every 6 months or every year or every 10 years, having an experience and saying, here's what I'm trying to do, here's what I'm learning. And I feel like the more that I've been experiencing with these medicines and allowing myself to let go and open and observe, really observe, and not to try to do anything, but just to observe, the stronger relationship I build with them. And through this relationship, unfortunately, like we don't have Boom every day, we don't have Boom every week. I can only come here every 2 years, and so all the work, like you guys have talked about, I have to do on my own, which like, it's really, really fun. But that's the best part, is creating a relationship, and then I get to talk about it with other people, and then I get to see every 2 years, how am I going in the right way? Are these people who know way more about this than I do or have different experiences, are they coming to the same conclusions? And I found that the more I look around at these people around us, is that so many people in these little tiny parts of the world come to this one festival with very similar conclusions. In different ways. They experience different things and they come to the same conclusion. It's, whether it's experimenting on your own or researching on your own or trying to find people who know more, I think these festivals help in a sense that they create mini shamans, little shamans throughout the world in little tiny parts of the world where you don't get to go to Boom. You don't have the money, you don't have the means, which is really, I think, an important aspect. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Super Boom shamans?
I've worked with medicine for half my life. I've worked with trance for more than half my life. And I find that there's a great many tools that one can do to prepare oneself for a powerful experience. Practicalities matter. When you're walking out to enter into power, the more prepared you are in terms of taking care of your body and yourself with all the little things that can happen. The more things you've got around your belt that you know will serve you well, just enough, that's really, really helpful. Then comes, of course, preparing your mind. And I find what's really beautiful throughout a spiritual practice is to come with your own medicine song. I have a song that's composed of where each verse is composed of an experience that I've had that has led me to this moment. And I sing it when I walk down the streets in my hometown, and I sing it before some of the greatest experiences of my life, and it helps me remind myself of how far I've come and how far I've yet to go. Same with affirmation. The affirmation that I bring into my life, in daily life in the hard places where I need to have hard conversations with myself and others, is the same one I use in vision. And it is keeping that continuity through life as through vision that makes for an integrated path of beauty, clarity, presence that we can walk every day. The last thing that I would say is that the greatest beauty is to see the ordinary world in the depths of vision. And in the midst of ordinary world, see the clear, present light that we know is at the heart of vision. For the both are one and the same. No difference.
Oh, gracias, gracias, gracias. Thank you. I think we're out of time. Are we? Sorry? 3 minutes.
I would like to...
Yep, cool.
My last piece is to finish with a quote by a beautiful man called Marcel Frost, who said that the real voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So I hope your experiences here allow you to perceive the world differently, so that you can go back to your everyday life and create a new reality for yourself by having new perceptions. And it's by coming to festivals and experiences like this that you get to expand your perceptions, your beliefs, which filter your life's experience so you can project a new experience on your life back home. So here's to new eyes from Boom. Thank you.
I'd also like to end, but this being my first Boom, and seeing the merging of shamanism, visual art, tribal warrior. My friend came in 2008 and came back totally tribalized. And the music, everything coming together, morphing together. The planet's getting really dark right now. Next year, it's things are really starting to crack up, and it's going to take the collective to feed hope and empower ourselves as a collective. And Boom and other trance dance festivals are seeding these really important communities. It's really important now that we actually realize that coming together in collectives, in groups, is going to be the future, because the system's breaking down. It's absolutely breaking down now. And what's breaking through is people realizing that we have to be the change. It's people realizing that actually if we get up and actually come together and work together, the change is going to happen very quickly. And it's that hope, it's that love that we're rippling out into the world that's going to be the current, that is going to be the tide of change, which is what's really needed on the planet. And together we are going to be the change that our future children are so desperately waiting for us to be. So I wish you all a fantastic rest of the boom. I wish you all a full moon Aquarius night. It's going to be full on. Aquarius moon is all about the rebel energy, and it's all about expansion. So I'm wishing you all a massively and momentous expansion over the full moon. And thank you very much.
Yeah? Yeah. Closing. I want just to open again. The more I work with myself and people, I see these keys are really important and really guide us. Simplicity, first of all. Honesty. And wake up, it's not about you, it's about us. In Japan, when you ask, how are you? They don't say, I'm good. They say, we are good. And that means a lot. So when we can start really looking to, all of us has a point in the circle. That's why we sit in circles. Because the middle, everyone can see the middle and have their own perspective. And I have a last story, very short. So once I was in the dieta and Jose didn't want to work and said, you work today. I was, wow, okay, I work. And all the indigenous people, they came. So 21 indigenous people coming to the ceremony. The people who work in the camp, so people from outside, they come and do the dietas with ayahuasca. And I was, why are you coming? You have our beloved master, work with him. And they said, no. We want to see an European white girl working. And then at the end, they came to me and said, good work. And I said, why? I was really interested to know why. Because I vomit a lot. And I was, you vomit a lot? Yes, I vomit a lot. And then they explained to me, do you know why we come to ayahuasca? We already see the mystery, God, the spirit, in everything. We come here so we can clean ourselves in some way, the things that we carry, so we can't really be awakened in real life with each other and with the spirit. So we can open the eyes. And in that moment, I got, it's not a question to find mystery or God, just a question of being open and sensitive to that. So I wish you an amazing sensitive boom, where you can find joy and crazy at the same time with safety, with less work to cosmic care.
Please, a big round of applause with lots of love for Satya, Rebecca, Christoph, and Vicky.